Hello from my couch. You guys may have noticed by now that when I have a bigger project to unpick or to take apart anyway, I tend to sit in my living room. Why? It's more comfortable than my sewing room and I can watch TV in here. Today we have two things we're going to tackle, hopefully kind of a reuse what you got kind of situation for Sew Salvage Save. Starting with this. This is a dress I got off of Amazon. I'm very certain it is from Gymboree. It is an adult size, which you wouldn't be able to tell by the brand, but it is. I do not wear it because the sleeves are too tight, especially underneath. And I don't like that it's it cuts my ankle, my calf in half. And for me, that makes me look really, really short, and I don't love it. So, to start, I've already started a little bit. I am going to go ahead and we're going to unpick the entirety of this bottom piece using our handy dandy, if you said notebook, good job, you're correct, handy dandy, I was going to say toothpick, but that's not right either, thread picker. I have one like this, a little bit more ergonomic, but if you have a sewing machine, your sewing machine came one, usually they're really, really tiny and thin. This I did get as a set from either Michael's, Joann's, or Amazon. It came with this, a couple different pairs of scissors, and it's a little bit more ergonomic for your hands. So we start by picking this whole thing off and pulling it slowly. I'm going to time lapse most of that so you guys don't have to sit here through just an hour of me going And then the second thing we're going to tackle, also with our handy dandy picker, is this. You will find as you make things and you get better at making things and you get better and better that you may not make things as well as you thought you did the first time, right? This is a circle skirt that I own. I do have a video coming out in the next couple of weeks about how to make them. They're very easy. I think by the time this video is out, it should be up, so if so, I'll put that here. But when I did this, I made the elastic way too small, and I can't wear it. So now, and I messed up the hem, so I had to cut the hem off that I did. So the other thing we're going to be doing is taking apart one of our own projects to refit it so that it actually fits correctly, and we're going to pin it. So let's go ahead and kick back, relax, watch some TV, and start our fun unpicking time. It was here, dear subscriber, that I remembered two things very rapidly. One, unpicking is very difficult if you can't see, thus me opening the curtain. And two, unpicking is very difficult when you're trying to watch things like Supernatural and you make the oddest faces. As you can probably see, I'm going through and picking and picking and picking, and my face is a big frown because it was a particular episode of Supernatural that was gory and I wasn't prepared for it. Well, let's see if she actually, stops. Nope, just gonna keep unpicking all the way through, just watching the gore and unpicking. Girl, we could have done better. This is also where I realized about an hour later that all of my audio initially that I had recorded with was gone and did not sound good. So we are on our backup audio, which is even worse. So, apologies for the technical delay. I don't realize that anything's wrong right about now. I realize it's wrong about an hour into filming all of this. And unfortunately, when you do creative as-you-go projects while you're recording, you can't really go back and reset the stage. Let's see here. Let's enjoy some more unpicking. lay down. Alright, so now I've tried it on. I am pretty happy with the length. It is probably a little shorter than I would normally go for like a fall dress, but because we're making it into a pinafore, it could be worn in the summer and in the fall, and this is about the length I would do. It probably looks pretty short on camera. The reality is I'm a short person, so it's gonna look short on camera. The next part is very simply the sleeves. Now, you have two options. You can unpin them like I did down here, or you can simply cut them off. Looking at the seams and everything, I'm pretty certain I'm just going to cut them off. Like, I don't know if there's a big reason. We'll see. I might unstitch the first line around the whole thing, not the serger line, just so I can get like a bit of a cleaner line when I lay down the serger line to sew it in, because thankfully these sleeves, as you can see, are a completely different part than the straps, which means I can use it for both, and they're lined totally separately. So this darker blue you can see here is lining, and it's lined completely separate. So that's pretty nice. So we're gonna get started on at least cutting them, and then I'll feel them and see if I hate it or not, and we'll go from there. And then we'll get started on this skirt that I have horribly misjudged my waistline on.
So as you go through and we watch this together, I can tell you that I started messing with it here and started kind of flipping it inside out, feeling the seams and everything, and right about there is where you can see that I've just decided to snip it away. It was a lot easier than trying to unpin it, because I would have had to unpin a serger line and a sewn together line, which was a big pain. Some of these, when they're made of like good cotton or linen, you can just tear, and that's what I did here. And then it just left me with a slightly raw edge to just snip up and clean up. I did that on both sleeves, but I did spend a little bit more like time making sure all of the pieces came off. Do it again. Nice and lovely, just ripping it down. And yeah, that way I can make sure that the sleeves look good still. I can still clean them up. I preserved the serger line, which means the clothes aren't going to fray, which is really, really easy to happen if you don't have something to preserve the serger. And there we go. It took me about 12 seconds to make that decision once I made it, because I did not want to keep unpinning both a serger and a sew line. So there we go. We're going to do it on both sides, and once we're done, we'll get back into it.
As you probably saw, I just decided to like cut then rip. And now we've got this edge all the way around, and we're just going to flip it inside out, fold it over, jar of pins, and pin it down. So we're going to get everything ready to go on the machine before we actually have to get on the machine. So let's start off with getting this all pinned. And after it's sewn down, we'll get the edges cleaned up, because there's obviously some like frayed threads, ripped edges. But the serger line that we kept intact will keep the rest of the fabric from fraying. The other thing that I'm going to do while we are in the pinning process is go ahead and pin down the hem, so that we're working with like as minimal as prep work next to the machine as possible. After pinning, we will get to this one. Just a whole lot of time lapses in this one. Lots of prep work. So now that we have done all of that, it's all nice and prepped to go on the machine. It's a little pokey, as you probably saw. I pulled back and poked my hands a few times. And now all we have left is this, which was the rounded part. And I massacred the sleeves trying to get them off. Like, straight massacre. So I will put these to the side for one of my off-camera projects. I am working on like a Bilbo Baggins-y quilted robe. So I'll put these to the side because they match all of that. And we'll go ahead and get started on this. Now some of the process will be the same. You just unpin it. I won't record that because, well, it's going to be boring for you guys. You unpin it and then we'll repin it at the bottom. So we have done the entirety of two things. One, we're going to ignore my hair. It didn't turn out the way I want. Two, this is the aftermath of like my friend's crafting day, which is normally when I do some of the sewing. So this is our first dress where we cut all of our sleeves off. We do have some like little fraying that we want to clean up. That's definitely going to be something to do when I'm done with everything. But not right now. It's not a right now problem. Second, we have in fact laced through an entire thing of elastic. There should be a video-ish where it will like walk you through how to make a circle skirt. And that's all we're doing is repairing this circle skirt. We should have that. Yeah, I think it was out before this one. Yup, I think. So now all we have to do is the last bit of sewing for this. So you just sew the two bits together. Bonus points if they don't look weird. I did more than I needed, so I'm just gonna shoop and zoop. Cool. You can tell that I had crafting day because everything is combined together. And all you do is a straight stitch down, or I like to do a zigzag stitch, but instead of it like punching here, here, and here, I like it where it goes do 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 do, stop, do 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 do, stop, do 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 do. My expert description there. So we're gonna pop that down in. Sorry if this is about to get loud. The machine's pretty close to my mic, but I think the mic actually like fixes it. And by fixes it, I think it like does something. Like it blocks it out. I don't know. And we're done. So now we just, this channel, by the way, is massive because of how we had to unpick everything. So it's not supposed to be like that, just full disclosure. It just is simply like that. We're gonna pop that down. This is all from my room, my office room, my sewing room, / library / office / cozy spot. So that's why it's all kind of like taken apart all crazy. When I have, oh, these match, they're not supposed to. When I have my friends over for crafting day, we do inevitably like take everything out of my office and then put it all back later. But we didn't do that this time. Most of the time because my friends are like totally willing to help me re-prep and put it all back. We didn't do it so that I could just like do this video. So I'm gonna do that. Thread your machine per our machine threading information. I have like a basics of sewing video somewhere out there that will do like the basics of threading a machine, but always like kind of refer to your manufacturer, which is kind of a silly thing to say, but they always turn out different. They're always just like slightly different. Oh, that's cool. It also helps if you put your little cap on here. Keep it in place. Probably would help our cause. Now we're gonna thread. The reason I, by the way, tell you like, please contact your manufacturer is because so many machines do have a different kind of like, oh my gosh. They have a different kind of way that they thread. And older machines thread different than new machines, that kind of thing. So now this is You might be like, what's wrong with her finger? I smashed it twice. 2 different incidences in sewing day today, which is unfortunate. I would recommend, as like general rule, if you are like somebody like me who is maybe only good at sewing now after like quite a few years of practice, like consistent hours all the time every day, I would recommend that you get a hold of like your friends and get like maybe a little group going. It is super easy because a lot of the time your friends also want to learn this stuff. I have found that like I do a crafting day with my friends every month, and not only does it like bring this sense of community and didn't remember to switch the stitch back, that's cool. It also like really helps for people who have different skill sets. One of my friends I've talked about on the channel before, Jay, she is a professional. Like she did this professionally at one point, so she has a lot of information. However, my other friend R, who I've also talked about in like why I did this video, she had a lot of like internal experience that she learned like with her parent or her grandmother, I think, and that really changes the way that you view this kind of thing, which is great because it does make it easier to have a friend who like knows what they're doing. There we go. I thought that was gonna pop for a second. I was like worried. But in turn, one of my friends, R, is a phenomenal like crocheter. That is not a skill set that I have at all, but she can't loom knit. That's something I will do on the channel if people are interested. Loom knitting is more of that thing that like I want to make sweaters and stuff out of it, and I'm like actively making cardigans out of it for my kid, but it may not be interesting to a lot of people, so I'll kind of play that one by ear. But she can't loom knit because that's not a skill set she ever needed to know or learn or whatever, so she just doesn't do it. However, I can. So she's trying to read a loom knit pattern. I have that capability and she doesn't. Another one of our friends, A, who I don't know that she is gonna watch, not the same A from my intro video, unfortunately, although this A hasn't been any like less amazing and helpful. She's just not somebody who sews, so she's not someone who helped me on this journey. She is, however, like incredibly knowledgeable about like cooking. So having that friend too, like especially with where we're at in the state of the country, especially in the United States, especially in the world, like community is something that I think my generation, I'm a millennial, but my generation is really missing because it was kind of already gone by the time. That's not a good noise. There we go. Okay. I feel like for a lot of people, the concept of a community was already gone by the time that they got to teenagehood and adulthood. Mine certainly was by the time I got into my early adult years. And so, by the way, that noise was it stabbing through the elastic, which isn't a terribly big deal if it only did it once. I would prefer it not keep doing that, but we'll find out. So we're just sewing up this channel. It's a good thing I covered this particular seam with a belt because, wow, this is like one of my worst seams ever. But it was also like one of the first things I ever learned to make. And so it just goes to show that like nothing's permanent when it comes to sewing. You can always go back and relearn. You can always come to terms with the fact that like maybe the first time you did it, it wasn't amazing, but it was in fact a start. All right. Now you might be like, wow, that's a way bigger version of that skirt than what you had at the start. Yep, it was, because I either really miss, like, oh, there's a space here. We're going to just get that real quick because we're already in here. So it means that either I really, really misjudged how big my waist was, which, like, probably, or I used a piece of scrap thinking it was big enough, which equally could happen. It is kind of comical to me. Also, I don't know why I chose to do purple thread for this. However, I did choose that all the way around the top, so like I gotta commit now. And there we go. I did hem the bottom during craft day today. So just a double roll hem, nice and easy. I am sorry that you guys couldn't see that, but I don't like to force the people that I hang out with to like deal with me working. Because this is the type of job, it's just, whoops. Oh, okay, we're good. It is a type of job, it's just not one that like a lot of people do. Hold on, we need scissors. 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 Why do we need scissors? Well, two things. We're going to do some finishing touches. So we're going to start with this finishing touch down here, get the excess off. I have found over the last few years that if I don't do a finishing touch, like the day I sit down from my machine and finish, then I won't ever do it. And then I just live with a half-finished skirt in my dressers for years. Which is more or less what happened with this one. This is the teacher of that moment. Anyways, as I was saying, crafting. I would really recommend that if you can, get together with a group of people. I don't care, men, women, in-betweens, neithers, whatever. And see what kind of skills everybody has to try to learn. Because you may find out that your friend that you didn't know this about is an amazing crocheter and they are able to like teach you to crochet. You may find that, like as I did, one of my friends, not the same A.2, I guess we'll call her. She's a fabulous pastry chef. Like that's what she was going to go to school for, so she did a little bit of that, and so she makes pie crust. I did not know how to make pie crust. I now know. And that's something we learned like casually hanging out and talking about on not just a crafting day, but like that's how you learn that stuff. That one looks good. Yeah, the top's funky, but we'll either wear a top over it or we'll wear a vest over it and we'll pretend like it's not like that. Again, how often is someone gonna look this close microscopically at your waist? Never. And if they are, ask yourself why, because that seems weird. Alright. This, you guys might recall, I just hacked the crap out of with the sleeves instead of unpinning it. So now we just get to do this fun little thing where we go in and cut this little bit of extra off. Because initially I just tore it like a heathen. I don't know why I chose to do that. Like I had other options. I could have seam ripped it. I just didn't want to. Here we are. Cool. Again, if I don't do this today, now, I won't do it. And then it will never get done. And then I'll have this half-finished thing that just lives in my closet. Yeah. Start working with, like, your friends and family. Because somebody, you know, probably has some kind of crafting ability. And they can help you out with, like, how they do this, how they do that. There we go. Some of them, if they're not super obvious, I'm probably going to just, like, not correct it. Like, not. Oh, yep, see? That one wasn't obvious. It's fine. Now, you can wash this after if you want to get, like, all the extra bits and strings off. I don't, because it came washed out of my closet when I was, like, fixing it. So I'm not terribly worried about it. Okay, I guess that one side was just way worse. This one doesn't need as much, it looks like. Boop. Good, good. Oh, there's just like this random bit. Oh, that wasn't even a random bit. That was just like in my business. There we go. Oh, we got some extra thread. Because I didn't seam rip this, there is just a reality. There's like way more extra thread than there should be. Okay, great. Great. However, because we didn't seam rip it, it just folded over and that's great. That part was great. This skirt I gotta wear a lot because frankly, this was the one that cut me 3 times today. So If I don't wear it, I'm gonna be kind of upset with myself. And there. Perfect. And we're done. A dress and a skirt. And now you just salvage something from your closet. Something that I know I wasn't wearing. Well, I'm gonna probably snip this tag out. I will see you guys every other Friday because I was trying to go for every Friday and it was killing me. So we will see you not this Friday but the next, and we will come back to Sew Salvage Save. Bye.